I lost something that I'm looking for. Ah, there it
Okay,
is.
we
Got
can
it.
vamp for like another minute if we need
No, no, I've got so many windows. It's just ridiculous.
to.
Um,
Okay. Well, we are live with another Tech Talk. This one, now that we are getting close to the end of the term, our final two Tech and Teach talks will be about getting ready for next quarter. And Tom is going to talk to us about some best practices for copying your course content over from one term to the next in a way that will hopefully avoid some of the potential pitfalls of doing it the wrong way.
there's no wrong way to do it. There's just ways that take more work to polish up and get
Okay.
well, there are some wrong ways, but not very much. But like yeah, and even after I said like I'm not leading this one next week, I'm totally leading this one. I was confused. Hello, I'm Tom Gibbons. I'm your friendly neighborhood learning management system administrator for the community colleges of Spokane. Oh, Spokane colleges. Uh, all of them. Um, and what I'm going to do today is talk through some things that I have struggled with as a teacher, and some weird things that you may want to know more about in terms of how we can get course copies kind of beaten into submission a little bit more sort of uh, a little bit closer to the target of what you're trying to do. Because sometimes the course copies come in and they are just bonkers. So there are a couple of ways that you can approach this. So this is my fall course, and I know it's like it's in the main community colleges of Spokane or Spokane colleges, sorry, sub account. So it doesn't have like the SEC or the SFCC stuff on the side, but it is in the fall term. You can see that right there. So that means that when I come down here to my settings in this course, this is my fall course, I will see that it is set to term participation and it is starting on September 17th and ending on December 15th. Those are the standard term dates that are set up in Canvas according, and they follow with what's in the academic calendar. Uh, so, um, what I want to do is now go in and there's a little bit of a buffer here on the end for like grades and grade submissions and stuff like that. But the way this is set up by default, students cannot view courses before the start of a term. And even if you publish them, this start date is the date and time at which they will begin to be able to see the course, even if you've published it. They can't get in and do anything until this date clicks around. Actually, they can get in and see, but they can't do anything, right? So um, these checkboxes down here, I'm asking as the person who gets the referred many of the problems that students think they're having with their courses. Don't touch these. Like don't check these boxes about restricting students from viewing before and after the term start. Right now, they're set up to allow students to view the course before the term starts, but they can't do anything. That this is the date and time at which they can start interacting. Even if you were to publish this course back in like June, they can't do anything in the course until this day. If you check this box, they won't see it until this day. Like it won't show up on their dashboard. They won't see it, nothing. If you check this box, then as soon as this date comes around, the course is invisible to them completely. They can't see anything in it at all, ever. Uh, and that because these are defaulted to allow students to view before and view after, though the course is in a read-only state, they can't do anything. When you adjust these checkboxes, students think that something has gone terribly wrong. And so like I'm going to request that you not do that. You can like you have permissions to do it, like the system allows you to do it, but it does create confusion. Um, if you're worried about tests, we do have a setting set up in our instance of Canvas that students cannot view tests after the term ends. So they can see a grade, but they can't see, even if no matter how you have your quiz set up, they can't see like answers on quizzes and tests, right? So that's locked down by default.
Okay. And that's
Yeah.
an instructor doesn't have to do anything for that to happen. That's just
Nope.
what happens.
Yep. As long as you don't mess with these things
Okay.
on this date and time, it will go into like you can't even view quizzes.
Okay.
It's keyed to this date and time right here.
Are
So
they able to see their own assignment submissions after?
they can see
ending?
assignment submissions, they can
Okay.
see grades, they cannot see tests.
Okay.
So anything that's built in the quizzing component of Canvas, they cannot see it.
Gotcha.
So that's just because people tend to do high stakes and high value assignments as quizzes and tests, which I kind of wouldn't, but like also their objective to like, I mean, like I don't, that's not the discipline I teach in. That's not a value in my discipline. So like high stakes tests are not a value. So but yeah, they can view their feedback, their assignment submissions, just not the sort of objective right and wrong questions and answers from quizzes. Well, even essay, they can't see anything in regard to a quiz. Nothing that's set up as a quiz. So you can adjust these if you're really like concerned about it, but students will call me and go, "Hey, it's gone," and I'm like, "Yes, it is," and that's up to your instructor. Please email them. So that's what will happen.
Steve has a question in the chat.
Oh, yeah, sorry, my chat is not open. Hold on one second. Chatterson. There you are. Steve, hi. Question: if you have published a course but are prior to the start date, will students receive no, they will not. Students do not receive any external notifications from the course until the course starts.
Okay.
And D, you're asking me what tab I am on. I am on settings in my course. So down here, settings, and then course details. That's what I am looking at right now. So that's what's going on with this. Okay, so this is my fall course. So this is just kind of some setup and sort of future casting. So this is my winter course, winter 2026. Can you believe it? 2026. Okay, so this is what an empty course shell looks like when you get it. Yours will actually look a little bit cleaner than this because I've cleaned up the navigation. You don't have SFCC and SCC. You only have what campus you're on and nothing that is not functional for you.
That's nice.
Yeah, so there's just a little template that loads in the minute the course is created that cleans up the navigation. Now, when you copy a course in from a previous term, it will be the exact navigation that you have set up in the course that you're copying from. So in order to copy my fall course or any previous term's course into your upcoming course, so this is going to be, so my upcoming winter course, I can either go to settings down here, or you can come over here and hit import existing content on your front page. Either way, both will take you right here. Well, not exactly. You go settings and you go to import course content. That'll get you to there as well. Same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy from my fall course into my winter course. Sometimes people recommend exporting your course content and re-importing it. Like there's an LMS admin at another one of the community colleges here in Washington State who I will not call out by name, but they just insist that that's the way it has to be done because everything is wrong about the course import tool, and it is not. I love the course import tool for a lot of reasons. I have some hate for it as well. Dislike, we'll say dislike. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select copy a Canvas course. Then I'm going to select a course and I'm going to use the dropdown. I can also type in what I'm looking for here, but this is broken down by terms. So like this is my default term. I have a bunch of stuff in there because this is my test teacher. But then I'm going to come down here. Here's my fall 2025 intro to theater course. That's what I wanted, and it populates it correctly. Now your course names will be a little bit different because they are named based on what they are called coming out of CTC Link. And there's a whole structuring naming process for that. What I'm going to do is leave this set to all content. I can do like a selective import, but I don't want to do that. I basically want to pull my entire course in just whole cloth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my events and due dates. I'm going to check that box right there. Sometimes people won't do that, and they'll just pull it in with the same due dates. And you can do that. There is a way that you can then move all of your assignments ahead by a set number of days. So if you want to count days on the calendar and go, this course started 173 days before this course is going to start, so that's how I'm moving them forward. You can do that. But I would not. I would do this because it gets you kind of into spitting distance of the actual term. So what I'm going to do is select the original beginning date for my class is right over here. So I'm going to pick the original beginning date for this class. Well, what day was that? Let me take a look. September 17th. Okay. That's why it's important to know. So I know that September 17th of 2025 was my first day of class. And I'm going to change that to the first day of the term for winter. Now, what day is that? Well, here are my academic calendars. My first day for winter is January 5th, not January 7th. I don't know why it's saying January 7th. It probably because I was playing around in this course before. So what I'm going to do is select January 5th. So that's what I want to do. I'm not going to give it a bounding end date. Like I'm not going to bind the end, because what tends to happen when you bind the end is that Canvas goes, oh, okay, and starts at the beginning and starts distributing your assignments and then freaks out in the second to the last week and goes, cram everything that's left into the second to last week. That has been my experience. I would recommend against doing this because you're just saying like, it's starting this day, it's ending this day. The other thing that I'm going to do is a date substitution. Because this is an online class, I'm going to do a day of the week substitution. My original class is set up. Let me show you. I'm going to pop into my calendar here. And I'm going to look at my intro to theater. And what I can see here is kind of a general pattern. I have things due on Tuesdays and Fridays, and that is because the term started on a Wednesday. So my first assignments for this online class due on Friday. Right. So that they're doing something within the first 3 days of class so I can track attendance, like they've actually attended the first class. So getting them in there, getting acclimated to being active in the course. So, and then Tuesday, because the started on Wednesday, that's a full week. So that's why it's that way. It's a little weird, but that's the way the term runs. So that's what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute Fridays with Wednesdays, and I'm going to substitute Tuesdays with Sundays because I'm moving them back a couple of days, right? Does that make sense? Because our previous start date was a Wednesday. Our new term start date is a Monday, so we're going to go back a couple of days. That's what I'm doing. So I'm going to say move my, oh, that's interesting. Oh, Eric just jumped into the Zoom meeting for this. So what I'm going to do is change Fridays to Wednesdays, and I'm going to change Tuesdays to Sundays. There we go. That's what I'm doing. And I'm going to add this to my import queue, and it's going to take a minute or two to do this. And so I don't have a Magic of Television swap out for this because I do want you to see what happens when the import completes. So let me get rid of that notification. Questions or thoughts on this so far?
We want our days of the week like to stay the same, Tom. Like I like my things due on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Then we just simply would not.
Yeah, you don't do the date substitutions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Who said that, by the way? Sorry.
Jamie, Adrian.
Okay, thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
Because like for some reason the chat window is not because you don't have your video on. My chat window is not popping you up. So I was like, who is that? Thanks.
Thank you.
So Tom, that last thing you just showed us, that's it. Like in your case, you have assignments due every Tuesday, every Friday. So making that date substitution is only if you have a consistent submission date. Like none
right.
of them like that. Like
yep.
They have assignments that are due different days of the week. So that wouldn't work for something like that.
Yeah, so you don't need to do that week substitution. Just do start date was this, now is this. Okay. And it should write correctly. Okay. it'll be a little bit weird, and we can make some changes. It's easy enough to do, but this gets you close-ish, right? Like it's gonna get you kind of close. The reason I do it that way is like a lot of times online classes have a specific cadence. A lot of times people will set everything due on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. Which I have had a campaign in my heart for many years to change it to Tuesdays at 10 a.m. for everybody, because that's like the week has started. Like you could get help on that day. Like nobody's slammed with Monday coming back to work stuff, right? But it's too weird. People are too acclimated to weeks end on Sundays at midnight.
Hey, Tom, briefly,
yeah.
there was another question in the chat. If you do
Yeah.
the date shifting and or substitution, does it also affect to-do dates that you put onto page content?
Yes, it affects to-do dates. It affects calendar entries. And that's why I do this too, right? Because you can say just leave everything the same and then go in and do bulk date adjustments, which I'm going to hit here in a second. But that doesn't change your calendar entries, and it doesn't change the to-do dates that you've added to pages and stuff. But this does. It shifts everything. You get pretty close. It won't be perfect. It won't be exact, but I'm going to show you a couple of tricks for dealing with that. Now,
before you do that, Tom, can I ask
yeah,
you?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You're saying it's going to put, like, if I copy everything I have out there now, it's going to it's going to do the date shift based on what you just showed us, except for that week thing. I can't do that week thing because I have different due dates. But I can go out, if I go out there and I turn off unpublished, like all the other, because I usually publish 1 week at a time. If I unpublish all the other weeks and only publish 1 week at a time, it won't put that due dates out there, because I'll change the dates if I need to each week.
If the stuff is published, students will be able to see the due dates. So
they won't.
Yep. If you unpublish it, and not just unpublishing the module, but all of the items in the module as well.
Right.
So like if the module is unpublished, but the content inside is published, that still shows up in other places in Canvas. But yeah, if you just unpublish everything, that's totally fine. You can also like strip the due dates on import. You can just say, get rid of all dates on this and just reconstruct. And if you're really good at like naming your items, like week 1, week 2, week 3, and you're really consistent about that, that's a great way to do it too. I tend to not say like week 1, week 2. I tend to be like descriptive and weird, and like that's also not good. Like when I'm teaching, I do that. If I'm designing for somebody else, I don't. But so yeah, like if you're really clear in your names, totally fine. Just strip the due dates. Like that's also an easy way to go. But this is the sort of date import, date shift, like course import thing. I'm going to show you what happened, but I did want to show you this view issues button, because it's saying partially completed. It doesn't actually mean it's partially completed. This whole process is done. Nothing else is going to happen. But it's saying partially completed because there are a couple of errors. And if I click this view issues button, it's going to say, hey, you have an external tool called Seattle Central Student Support, because I built this course when I was at Seattle Central. May need to be adjusted. Okay, fine, not a big deal. Missing links found in this thing. This is actually a page that's published and that I'm using. And I have a missing link in here somewhere. So if I like hover over and mouse over this, eventually like down in the lower right-hand corner or left-hand corner, I don't know if you can see that, came up, it says Canvas object reference and like a string of characters and stuff. That's my problem, right? So I know I need to go in and fix that. But like you can also run a link validator. Cassie and Caleb will talk about that next week. But that's I wanted you to see, like on the import log, it does tell you if there are some problems. So it's important to pay attention to that. So let's check out how our syllabus looks, because I use the syllabus and I'm going to use this jump to today link that's going to take me down to here. And look, I have something that's due on September 30th, which is not at all in the frame of the course. Why is it September 30th? Quiz over Greek drama from ritual to theater. Interesting. Let me go. I click to a different tab. I'm going to go back to that original course. And I just want to see, what day was that due? Quiz over from ritual to theater, September 30th. Why didn't it change? I have no idea. I have reset and re-imported this course like 6 times. I don't know why that one just doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to change. Why? Don't know.
Sometimes it does that.
It is resistant to change. So this was this will be my second week. So it's my second Sunday, basically, that this is looking like, because it was September 23rd and then September 30th. So I know that this needs to go to, I'm going to open it in a new tab, and I can adjust it, edit it, and put it on. And see, it's going to say like, hey, it can't be before the term start date. Yeah, I didn't put it there. You did. Like, I'm just going to clear this off, and I'm going to set it to my second Sunday, which is the 18th, and I'm going to save it. All right, so that should get me a little bit closer to where we want to be. Yeah, so I've got Wednesdays and Sundays here, which is what I wanted. It's approximately correct. That's great. Another thing that I can do that I would like to do here is just look at my calendar for that course as it starts up. And let me look here. Over here on the right, by the way, in the calendar, you can see you've got your courses listed, and you can turn them on and off by poking this little colored square here. And if you really want to, you can also change the color. If you're like, I don't like that color. Okay, well, make it blue. All right, whatever color works for you. That blue does not show up very well. Going back to this dark blue. Let's go to this dark blue. Okay, so I can see, like, I'm looking at this, like, it's Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. Am I about right? Probably. The other thing that I can do is I can pull these out and look at them side by side, which I kind of want to do. Right, these calendar does not shrink up real well, but do what we can. Nope, wrong, gone. Right. But now I can kind of see the general shape of what's going on. Like, is this hitting correctly? You know? And it seems to be, right? It seems to be about right. The other thing you can do, which is also helpful, is you can look at the agenda view. And this I find to be pretty helpful as well. Where are we, agenda view? There we are. So you can see, like, this is my first Friday. This is my first Wednesday. And so I've got like these 3 items, these 3 items. So it's just comparing the list across the screen. It's pretty, I find that to be kind of useful view to just check and make sure that everything is right.
I've never used that view before, but I like it.
Yeah, it's a good one. So there's a couple other things I want to hit here real quick. This one is important. So let me go into this course copy example, right? The next thing I want to do once I've done my importing, if I know that I have a bunch of videos in my original course that I want to come into this course that I've stored in Panopto, in order to get those to come in, I do have to click on the Panopto Recordings tab. This provisions the folder in Panopto for this course and starts the migration process for those previous videos from the previous course into this one. If you copy your course and then you're like, oh, wait, I also have like 3 things from this course over here that I want to pull in, and you pull that in, and then you click the Panopto Recordings tab, you're going to have to call me, which is totally fine. And the only reason you're going to have to call me is because the course that you pulled those 3 things in from, that's the folder that Panopto is going to copy over. It's going to go, oh, from that course, because it just uses like the most recent course copy that was made. And so when you copy in the content, whether it's using the send to, copy to, selective import tool, like whatever way you're copying content in, as long as it's not copying and pasting, and don't copy and paste in Canvas. It's bad. It will make you unhappy. But if you're using any of the built-in course import tools, Panopto will read that as the originating course. So you want to do this right after, you want to click that Panopto Recordings tab right after your import is finished. Right. That's just a weird thing that started happening lately. So yeah.
Tom, if I remember correctly, I think you need to do the same thing if you're using Respondus. Is that still true? Where you have to, if you're using lockdown respondus, you also want to click it once to kind of activate it in that course.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of true with any external tool. You need to provision it for the course that you're in. It doesn't always, like, you need to activate the tool basically. And it's like you're poking the external platform and going, hey, I'm
There's
here.
a new one. There's a new version.
And then it goes, oh yeah, I recognized you. Here, this is what you need. Yes, okay, good. I'm reading your data from this copy of the course. Yes, we're all good. So yeah, one last thing before we go. So that's the Panopto recordings thing. It's just a weird thing. If you don't do it and you see weird videos in your Panopto folder for the course and things aren't working correctly, give me a call. Send me a ticket. Send me an email. Because I can get rid of your folder and reprovision it. I can get rid of your course folder and reprovision it, and we'll get going with no problems. Okay, so last thing I want to show you, and a lot of people don't know that this exists, but I love it, and it came out around COVID. Ooh, sorry, this is a thing that drives me bonkers. If you have it, when a course gets created, you get this 0% empty assignment group. Get rid of it. Students can see it in their grades page, and it just sits there at the bottom in the as a category that says assignments 0. And it looks weird to them, so just delete it. I have seen courses that have like 5 or 6 of those in them. Not here, but at other places. And I just was like, it was when I was managing curriculum, and I would just go through and gently and quietly delete them for the good of the order. So in assignments in a course, you can come over here to the more options button, this little kebab guy, and select edit assignment dates. And now I can come through here and see a dated list. So if you have been like going through to each one of your assignments and changing the due date by editing the assignment or whatever, you don't have to do that. You can edit your due, available from, and available until dates all in one big sheet. You can do that right here. And so I can just go, oh, you know what? That one's wrong. It should have been this day. Okay. Or, oh, I was wrong. Let me get rid of that change, delete that change. You can also, this is the thing that I was talking about, rolling the dates forward. Oh, you know what? I'm completely off by 2 days. Everything is just off by 2 days. Yep. Roll everything forward by 2 days. Now we're back on Fridays and Tuesdays. I can cancel this or I can save it. Oh, why is it saying, no, you can't save? That's interesting. That's not right. Refresh. When in doubt, reload. All right. Let me go in here and do that. Batch edit. Shift everything by 2 days. Confirm. Yeah, it doesn't like that. Oh, you know why? Because it's pushing me out past the end of the term. That's what's going on. So it's stopping me, but it's not telling me until I scroll down. So let's just...
if that happens, scroll and look for a red error message somewhere.
Yeah, it's still wrong. There we go. Then I can save it. Yeah, so this is super useful, particularly if you have available from and available until dates and you didn't use the date rollover. You can also just strip all the dates out if you want and start from scratch. It's kind of a drag. Oh, one other cool thing that you can do with dates, if it's wrong and you're in here and you're looking at, say, let me go into the month view, and I'm over here in my new course and I'm like, you know what? There's actually a thing that's wrong in here. And I think there is one that's wrong in here. Yeah, this should actually be here. I could just grab it in the calendar and move it. Or I can go, you know what? This is actually supposed to be like the month before. I can also just open up the undated category and I can go, this is supposed to be here. And I just dropped it in there and I'm like, yeah, and really like, nope, sorry. Yeah, it actually got put up there. Like, there it is, right? I can move it to wherever I want. I can also make it undated. right? This doesn't change your available from and until dates. It does just change the due date, or if it's just a calendar entry, it will change the date that the calendar entry is on. But sometimes, like when I was playing around with this earlier today, my calendar entries were wrecked. And so I just grabbed all of them and went, nope, we're going to fix these. Like that's an assignment that should stay there. I just grabbed all of my calendar entries and just dropped them over into undated. This didn't take for some reason. Sometimes it takes once or twice to get them in there. And then I just replaced them because it was just wrong. How do you set up both Zoom and Panopto so students join a Zoom session and the recording of the Zoom session is most readily? Okay. That, Cameron, is a question for another day. Just because this is about like importing from one term to the next. That is a cool tool though. Basically, you set up the Zoom meetings within the Canvas course by using the Zoom meetings tab. And then it automatically creates that in the right space. And when you start the meeting then, and start the recording, it attaches the metadata from your course to the recording in Zoom. And then when Zoom shuttles it over to Panopto, Panopto goes, oh yeah, it goes in this course folder. You do have to have your Panopto course folder provisioned, but that's it. You just use Zoom from within Canvas. That's all. Yeah. Steven, pretty sure the answer, the assignments in my courses are all graded complete and complete. Oh gosh. You can do that, Stephen, but you do have to that's a good question for another time too. Yeah, like there is a way to do stuff with that. There is a way to kind of make things you can actually use competency based assessment if you wanted to. Or like I think that might work. There's some ways you could game the system to make that work. Sorry, now I'm distracted. I'm done. We're done. This session is done. I'm over time. Other questions about like copying from term to term? That using the date shift on course import works pretty well. Adding that weekday substitution gets it a little more in line. But then using the bulk edit and or the drag and drop calendaring, which by the way, the first time that Canvas put a video out about drag and drop calendaring, it was captioned as dragon drop calendaring. And I was like, I need that in my life. I need a dragon to drop the calendar events. Like I need that. But I didn't get it. Anyway, thanks for coming. Sorry, I'm always over. But let us yeah, it's complicated. Yeah, Craig, you're absolutely right. Like the variability of instructional days is frustrating. The program that I just finished, an AAS in IT. I have an MFA in theater, and I just went back and did an applied associates in IT. It was all online, and the way they set it up was they just were like, the course starts on the day that the term starts, and the course runs for 10 weeks, and that's it. And they didn't care about the instructional days in the academic calendar. They were just like, nope, we're on a quarter system, 10 weeks, we're done. And it actually worked out pretty well because this last quarter, there was an error with one of the systems that we had to work with, and we couldn't get into it for several days. And so the instructor was able to extend our final project date for several days until before the term ended. But they just scoped their online courses, and I think you can probably get away with this. I think you can probably choose to do this too as an instructor in an online environment. You can say, all right, my course lasts for 10 weeks, and this is what it is, right? And we are done on this day, and this is the date that the final project is due. We're done. And that can kind of help keep things more sort of consistent from term to term. When you get to the summer, of course, that's just gonna no. But yeah.
All right.
I dealt with, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna go ahead and end the live stream.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody for coming. Enjoy your 4-day weekend, and we will be back with the final Teach Talks of the year next week.
Yeah. More on this.
And
Start and end of term checklists.
Tom, Cameron messaged me because he can't be noisy right now,